Hello, guys. Welcome back. We are live on this quite sunny Friday morning. To my left, or are you ever watching it? We've got Wads on. So good
Hi,
morning.
how you doing?
I'm very well. You?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to the final game of the actual season, and it's kind of good that we're going into it with a bit of not so much pressure on us, going into probably the complete opposite, which is obviously the playoffs. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, but hopefully we can end it on a win.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, tomorrow's game it's gonna be a bit weird going up to team news because I've been saying it since Tuesday. Like we're not sure how we're gonna change how much change this can be to the team.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it quite a bit. Like I don't know whether Cooper will just stick to the full strength of teams, like get momentum going again, because ultimately we lost to Bournemouth. It wasn't the best performance really in the second half anyway. But I just think even though we lost to Bournemouth before that, we were on incredible form. Everyone knows that it was the I know we lost to Luton not too long ago either, but they're literally two defeats out of the absolute blue. So ultimately, we've been on really good momentum. Whenever we do lose, we often, but every time in the Cooper, we bounce back straight away. We always have done, which is apart from when we lost to Huddersfield and Borough back to back. That's the only time we've lost consecutively. And the Huddersfield game, arguably, we should have been winning at Christmas, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether we'll play a full strength team to like just get momentum going again, because ultimately we did lose a game, regardless of what it was like before and the opponent. But at the same time, because it is Hull and it's the last day of the season, and ultimately we know that automatics aren't a possibility, which I really don't think is much of an issue. It was never ever. It was always going to be a real big ass. I think we were kind of getting a little bit over the top with it, to be honest. Like it was always going to be really difficult to do. It's not really an issue. Maybe we ought to play a few different players like your Mitons and give Figs a go. Cafu, that kind of setup maybe. I don't think we should make like 8 changes. Make a few changes and put some of the bench players in maybe.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Touching on the Bournemouth one, it was a big ask for us to actually go there and win, and then win tomorrow.
Mm.
How did you take about that Bournemouth game? If the officials was a lot more better, it might have been a different game. But it was quite a tough one to take the second half with the amount of pressure that Bournemouth did put onto us.
Yeah, part of me was really, really disappointed that we lost, because like we all wanted second just to make it easier, but it was always going to be a real tough ask to do that, to beat a team that had been second pretty much all season. It would have been a monumental bottle job from them, and I don't think they were ever really going to do it, because even though they haven't been as good the second half of the year, they've still had enough results to stay in second place. So, they clearly haven't been that bad. And who knows, they might survive the Prem next season. I don't think they will, to be honest, but, we'll have to see. We want to be there with them, though. And, I can't stand, and I know they do it on purpose, but seeing these Derby fans and Bournemouth fans laughing at us saying, oh, you bottled it. We didn't really bottle it, because, like, we had nothing to bottle. We bottled the opportunity, but it's not like we were second and then we threw it away. Like,
Yeah.
So they're just trying to get to our heads, really, aren't they? So, I think, yeah, it was a frustrating game, because the first half I thought was really even, and it was, you could easily tell it was two sides right at the top end of the table. But the second half, Bournemouth clearly changed up their approach. I thought they were really dangerous going forward every time. From the very get go, they were very high intensity. They seemed to know exactly what they were doing while they're going. Not like, okay, we'll just assess it as we go forward. We knew what they were going to do, and it was difficult to cope. And I thought we were doing very well up until when they scored. But the second half, it was really, really flat. It was quite a very, very rare thing to see, really. under Cooper and this entire this season really. Like the only thing I can relate it to is the Preston match when we drew 0-0. It was a really flat, drab game. The second half in particular, we weren't particularly good at all. And we left substitutes too late, really. And we did
Yeah,
exactly the same in this game. We conceded and immediately brought on three players, and that was a bit strange. I don't know why we did that. It felt like we were playing for a point, which is something I've very rarely see with Cooper. He always says we want to win every match, but it felt like we were trying to play for a point. Let's just try and beat Hull on the last day and do it that way, maybe. But I don't know. I just feel like it was a very rare occasion where Cooper did seem a little bit negative with his tactics, but I'm not going to criticise him. He's completely wrong to criticise him, but he obviously knows what he's doing. He's proven that more than enough this season. But yeah, he's a little bit negative with the substitution. Ultimately, it wasn't the best, but we just move on. Whenever we've lost, we've bounced back straight away, and it's not like we lost. We lost to the top two side. We beat an even better one last week in Fulham. So, to beat both of them was always going to be a real tough ask.
yeah, I do agree. I mean, what you said there is completely spot on, and I would have said that anyway. Well, I've been saying it this week, like with the subs and all that, it was a bit not too polite, but then I did think in my head, like on my way home Tuesday night, like he could have brought on. I mean, it was such a tight game. I think the sub would have helped us in that sort of relieving that pressure. But then, but then the flip coin to it, I was thinking, who could he brought off to make it a lot more? When we were all, it was a tough one to take with that sub one, but I couldn't agree more. Like it was really flat, and I don't know if you thought the same, but when Keith Moore came on, I thought, here we go again. Keith Moore come.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I said to a guy at work who's a Coventry fan when he came on, I was like, he always scores against us. So within 10 minutes,
yeah.
he
Yeah,
scored.
he always scored. He did it for Cardiff last season. This season, he did it. He's definitely scored against us a few times, and he did it again this year with Bournemouth. He's been injured was pretty much as soon as he got to Bournemouth, but he's one hell of a player, Keith Moore. I've always rated him. I wouldn't complain if we signed him, to be honest, but we've got a great set of strikers anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, he's a real handful and a real threat for any defence. And I haven't often criticised us defensively at all this season because of how rock solid we've been. The Great Wall of Nottingham, as we've said before, we are unreal at the back, but the goal was way too easy. There was no one picking more up. Zink was kind of trying to pick him up, but he should have been closer to him. So yeah, it was the whole Bournemouth game was frustrating. The second half, we hardly attacked. It was a really strange approach from us. We don't normally see that. It was a bit like in the previous managers where we've been a bit defensive minded. And sometimes we don't do that all the time. I'm not really that bothered. But for the goal, it was really easy. And we shouldn't have let Kiefer Moore have that much space. Had so much time. But yeah, he's a real handful. Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we go then on Saturday against someone to get things going again. Like, I mean, drilled on it a little bit, but I mean, to say where we came from after 7 games, I mean, you said it quite a few times as well throughout the season. Like, we gave everyone a 20 points head start. Like,
Yeah.
and to say where we are now, it's like we couldn't have been any more like prouder of the boys for to get to where we are
Yeah.
in the playoffs and a chance of promotion and Wembley. It's like it is brilliant to say we were bottom of the table and 20 points off everyone else.
Yeah. I've never said before ever, oh, well, we ought to be getting top two in any season. So even in this season, like I think I said the other day to someone, remember when Sabri was here and, obviously we don't want to talk about the end of that season, but remember when we played Derby, the game where it all seemed to go wrong for us. But there was a stage in that game when we were winning and we were only like 5 points off second. And even then, I wasn't that confident we'd do it. Like people were just saying, "Oh, we could make second here," you know. And I just thought, nah, surely not. But yeah, this season when we've been nowhere near the top two at times, most of it, I was pretty confident we could do it. So I think that says everything about the mentality and the way this team works compared to previous teams that have been in this position longer than what we have been this season. It just shows that we had this group of players. We already had a talented group, but it just weren't being used correctly. And Cooper's just unlocked it completely, and took the shackles off, like the old cliche is. And yeah. I mean, it was disappointing in one sense that we didn't, we don't have this opportunity on the last day of the season, but really it's minimal for me. Like playoffs was always going to be more realistic, and ultimately it's not a bad thing that we haven't done it. I think we can still win the playoffs. We are the best team in it, really. Huddersfield are good, Luton, Sheffield, Millwall potentially, but it's unlikely they'll get it. And I hope Borough don't. They're all good sides, but even though we haven't got the best record against them throughout this season, we can beat them. Especially over 2 legs. Huddersfield have beaten them twice out of 3 times this season. Millwall won 1, drew 1, but lost both, which isn't encouraging. Luton, we drew and lost, but we'll put an asterisk next to the defeat, shall we? Because it shouldn't have been a defeat. And Sheffield, we drew both, and we played really well in both matches, I thought. So arguably based off the results this season, you probably pick Sheffield and Huddersfield, to be honest, or Millwall.
Funny enough, that was my next question to you about who you wanted in the playoffs, because I've been saying I wouldn't want Bill because obviously Jed. Sheffield United, I'm not too concerned with Sheffield United because obviously Matt's loads out anyway.
Yeah.
Millwall, I wouldn't mind seeing Gary Rowett's trainers again.
I remember we all took the mick out of his trainers when he came here.
His Parmock trainers.
Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the trainers again. Yeah.
Luton, just I don't know why. I think we're first taking the second leg at home. I don't mind Luton, but the second leg at home and Huddersfield. I mean, it should have been 2 wins against them. Well, 2 wins out of 3, but obviously we couldn't find our scoring boots that night. So, but yeah, completely agree with what you said.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really mind who we get. I think we can beat them over 2 legs. I mean, look, I was just saying all the scores there. The only one we've beaten Huddersfield over 2 legs, and obviously Millwall as well. So we can do it. And even though Sheffield with 2 draws, I thought the home game we were really good against them, particularly the away game. So many people say Forest are the best side to come to Bramall Lane, Sheffield United fans, and highly rating Keenan Davis in particular. So even though Sheffield are a great side, they won the Premier last season, they're going to be up for it. They've been the weakest of the 3 relegated Prem sides, but ultimately a bit like Forest, really. They had a tough start, and now they're in the playoffs. I think both us and Sheffield have done a really, really good job in getting themselves back up to where we should have been, because we should have been higher, both of us, even then. I think particularly Forest had gone on to exceed expectations, but it still isn't particularly a surprise because of how good we are. We know how good we are. So yeah, I'll be pretty confident about Sheffield. I think it would be a very tight game, though. I don't think it'd be easy. To play us, it's not going to be easy against anyone. But part of me would like Luton just to get revenge on them, but I just know what they're going to do. They're just going to play their old tactic, and I'd rather not watch that for another 2 90 minutes. So.
I wouldn't either. I wanted to ask about VAR actually, because I mean, introduced anyway yesterday about they're going to introduce it in the playoff final, which I find weird because why are they just doing it in the final and not doing it in the semis? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I thought they were doing it in the semi-finals, to be fair, but I'm not sure.
I've seen that just in the final from what I read.
Right. Well, regardless, I think it's a good thing that they've introduced it, because even though VAR is controversial in the Premier League and anywhere, like VAR was in that Liverpool game for us, and it still got the decision wrong. But then again, it's at one stage in that game, at one angle it looked like it was onside, at one angle it looked like it was off. So it's difficult. It doesn't really solve it that much, to be fair. But I suppose if you've got the second perspective of you can look back on it, yeah, it probably should be useful, And I honestly think Marinakis has played a part in it, because he complained to the EFL about the state of the refereeing, rightly so. It's ironic that like 2 days later they say VAR for the playoffs. So maybe I think he actually got his way. So don't mess with Marinakis. I think that's the thing that you have learnt from this, really.
Oh, you know what? I actually had to laugh giggle a little bit when I see Matthews complain, because I thought, hey, he's kicking off what EFL going to do, and the changes they made for it already. I'm like, oh, right, okay.
I think he's actually got his way, hasn't he? It's encouraging to see.
I just hope he hadn't done no match fixing like clarification in Greece.
Yeah, hopefully not. I'm glad that that's all boiled over now. We don't have to worry about his controversy.
There's been some questions to you from Jamie saying they said Joe under the covers. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Yeah, I have. I can confirm there's not, Jamie.
Dude, you're breaking news. But yeah, I mean, it's just weird one with the VR. But you know what? I'm glad that they are trying to introduce it into championship games now. It's just
Yeah.
shame that they're doing it now, the 2 days after the Bournemouth game. It's like, why couldn't they have done it?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, because like VAR ultimately should be there to help make the right decision, and I think it can be used correctly, but they just don't. They're incompetent without it. They're incompetent when they use it. So I don't know why it's so difficult to use, but they always seem to make mistakes when they're using something to try and avoid making mistakes, which is really confusing. But ultimately it should be a good thing that they've introduced it, because how many horrendous mistakes are made. They should be able to look back on it and maybe change their mind, but they probably won't, because they still don't know what to do properly with it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's FA and the FL for you. It's very slow.
Yeah.
What would you be your scoreline for tomorrow?
Well, I mean, they've got nothing to play for, Hull, and technically we haven't, but we have a lot more than them. We've got to prepare for playoffs, so even though it doesn't technically matter, we could still finish fourth. I'd rather finish third. So Cooper will drill it into the lads to not just go out there and just play because you have to, play because you want to win just as much as any other game. So I'm not concerned about that, even though we weren't the best against Bournemouth. The second half, it's a completely different kind of game this against Hull. So I'm not going to disrespect Hull too much. They lost 5-0 last week, so we should be pretty confident. 2-3-0 maybe to Forest. We'll go 2-0. We'll be somewhat moderate on them, but I'll go 2-0 Forest.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I went onto the Match Tab HD channel, guys. The link is on the Twitter feed, and I said then 2-1. And to be fair on the lad, he was saying that Alex Martin's all this and all that, saying that is crap, and we should have got the penalty. But like I said to him, we probably don't win 2-1, 3-1. We give him the goal, and Martin don't score.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see someone like Martin play against Hull, because he came on, got that great goal against Swansea. I want to see him get more minutes, because I think he's got a future here. He needs to play, and I think, especially if we get promoted, maybe a loan might be a good idea for Mighton, even though I do rate him. But a young lad like him needs to be playing as much as possible. He's not going to get it right now. And same for maybe a few of the other younger lads. Give him a go if possible in this game. And I don't think we should go out there and make like 8 changes, but make like 3 or 4 maybe. Give players like Cafu a go potentially, who whenever he comes on has done really well. Passion merchant Cafe, whenever there's a celebration, he's well into it, which is great. Give someone like Lolly a go from the start, for instance. Figs, he might leave in the summer, give him a go. So it's a shame that Keenan Davis ain't available, because I do actually think we missed him quite a lot against Bournemouth. We were getting bullied in that game, and I think we needed someone to bully them, and that's what Keenan does. So hopefully he'll be magically fit, like all these players that are allegedly injured tend to be.
Yeah, I agree more. I was going to ask about if we would have if we played some of the youngsters. Not play them, but have them around with the squad tomorrow. But I couldn't agree more with Martin. I mean, he probably needs that sort of low move, that running lad, just go out and season somewhere. Not at a team like Brennan did with Lincoln, where he could excel. And then when he does come back, he has that bit of confidence and momentum to kick start, where like Brennan did this season. I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think that probably would reignite, not reignite, but it would really get his confidence up and just make him a better player. We saw it happen with Brennan. He went out on loan, did amazingly well. And I don't think it's coincidence that Lincoln have had a poor year in League One since he's left. So it just shows how important he was. And now he's a star for us. So
definitely,
you could see that happening.
I mean, and even Cooper said that he waits Cooper as well. Like as players, obviously, he does see a future here with it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see.
Lee Essie said that about the EFO, that he threw them in the Manchester Canal, but they wouldn't fit in from all the prams.
Fair enough.
And said Hope Davis is fit, love him. And then,
he's great. Great player.
Jamie saying, I know he's under the covers. It one of them photos they're going up to the pop.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah, that's exactly why I did it.
It's that new alien one. Whatever his name. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more what he said today to Revere. So I'd like to say thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. You heads.
Don't forget to check out his YouTube channel and his socials as usual, guys. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and goodbye.